Yeah, so everybody, I'm Barry Cooper, and I'm actually in Australia right now. I'm not sure how Allison tracked me down, but she did. And thank you for joining. I feel honored to be able to speak with you all, and I've always had a place in my heart for defense lawyers. Well, so I wanted to make this short. Is there something you're clicking? Okay. I wanted to make this short and easy because, frankly, the whole drug dog business is easy. Of course, you're not able to testify as an expert, but you'll be watching a video and you'll be able to tell if a dog's doing what it's supposed to be or not. Now, I still would have agreed to do this webinar prior the Jordan ruling, but it would have been a whole different looking class, because I'm just telling you, you can pop a beer right now if you've got one, or some champagne. There's this new ruling that came out in Utah. I call it the kill shot to the drug dog scam. Only a few months ago, I published a video just claiming drug dogs are a scam, and they are. They've been used for decades now to steal billions, literally billions of dollars a year in assets, and to arrest millions of people. And shouldn't be that way. It's always been, if you write anything down today, and if you remember anything today, I want you to remember and know that it's my opinion that a drug dog should never be used to gain probable cause. That needs to change. I've been saying for over a decade now that drug dogs should only be used to help officers locate contraband. But you're going to find in a minute, and you're going to understand why I say a drug dog should never be able to decide a Fourth Amendment issue on the side of a highway. We know there's basically 3 probable causes to search an automobile when a police officer pulls somebody over. They had a reliable informant tip. What's that called? Plain sight, where an officer sees something during the traffic stop from a legal vantage point, and he sees contraband, or he detects the odor of contraband. Those are 2 reasons to search a car without consent. The 3rd reason is a canine alert. And that's where this whole scam has been going on, because canines do false alert. I was the first person in 2006 to blow the whistle on canine false alerts. And I'm going to tell you, the police community and courts, and I was the devil. I was a heretic to dare say anything of that nature. The reason I knew handlers would make their dogs false alert to gain probable cause to search is because I did it. I did it for 8 years. I was a narcotics agent and canine handler and trainer. And if I couldn't establish probable cause through an informant or detect something with the plain sight, I would walk my dog around the car. If the dog didn't alert legitimately on his own, I would secretly cue my dog to alert, which gave me probable cause. Because many times, more often than not, there are drugs inside an automobile that a dog cannot smell from the outside, and I knew that. So I would trigger my dog to false alert, then I would hand search the car and find the drugs. I'm sorry I did that. I'm not proud of that. That's immoral and it's wrong. But I thought I was doing the greater good at the time. I really believed in the drug war, and I thought I was doing the right thing by getting the evil drugs and the evil drug dealers and users off the street. So I didn't see a moral problem at the time with lying and causing my dog to cue like that. So that's the introduction. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about 3 things, and then we'll have questions and answers. If for some reason you don't want to come on video and ask me a question during question and answer time, no problem. Email me. I've been answering the same email for 12 years, and we monitor it almost 24/7. So no matter where I am in the world, I'm very easy to get a hold of. So we're going to talk about how dogs are trained. You need to know that so you can understand at number 2 why it doesn't work. And then number 3, we're going to discuss how to defend against a drug dog false alert. All right, let's talk about how a dog's trained. First, you probably already know this, but we don't get dogs addicted to drugs for them to find drugs. That's absurd. I'm sure you already knew that, but I had to throw that in there. Training a drug dog is one of the easiest things to do, actually. Now, perfecting his training is the problem. But to train a drug dog, the first thing we must do is find the right dog to train. And this becomes important when I'm reviewing videos of actual traffic stops where the canine's been deployed. It's important because the right dog to train needs to be a dog with a high prey drive. That means a dog that is insane about chasing something, let's say a ball. And you've all seen this dog. It's the dog that's in somebody's backyard that just wants you to throw the ball over and over and over, and no matter how many times you throw it, the dog goes and gets it, and he jumps up and down and he slobbers on everything and he goes crazy. That's the dog that you want to start with. So you need kind of a hyper high-driven dog. So this helps us when I can almost tell if a dog's going to search and alert properly as the officer is walking the dog toward the suspect vehicle. If the dog is lazy and looking around and distracted, it's usually going to be a bad alert. If that dog is pulling on the end of the leash and he's really pushing hard to get to the car, then we got a little something to worry about. That means they started with the right dog. Now, when I was teaching classes over a decade ago, we would teach classes, some would be 10 dogs, and all the way up to classes, some with 100 dogs. And we would spend a week in training with 100 dogs. And I'm going to tell you, every canine seminar I conducted, 80% of the dogs were the wrong dog to train to begin with. They didn't have the proper prey drive. And I would tell the officers that, you just need to get another dog, one with a higher prey drive. So again, we're talking about how to train a drug dog. So we find this dog that's insane, crazy insane about wanting to find his tennis ball. And then we sent the tennis ball with a narcotic odor. We usually start with marijuana because marijuana is easy to get. It's not dangerous for the dog if the dog accidentally eats it, and it's got a real pungent smell. It's just easier to work with. Now that things have changed, that there's marijuana legalization and medical marijuana, pretty soon they're not going to be able to allow a dog to alert on marijuana. They're going to have to take that out of the program because obviously having marijuana is not illegal. So it'd be like a dog alerting on tobacco cigarettes. So eventually they're going to have to take that out. So we get the marijuana and we scent the ball, and we start out, we hold the dog near high grass and we pitch the ball into the high grass and let the ball settle, still holding the dog. Then we let the dog go, which forces the dog to use his nose to find the ball. Now, dogs can't see 3D. And if you want to see how a dog sees, you can cover one eye and take your finger and try to point to something on your computer. You can't judge distance. You can't really tell when you're going to touch something. That's how a dog sees. He sees flat. He doesn't see 3D. So when you pitch the scented toy or ball into the high grass, his eyes can't mark it to where he can run straight to it. He has to use his nose. So the dog uses his nose and starts hunting, and he's sniffing just like a hound or any dog that's looking for something does, and eventually tracks the odor, and finds his ball. And then he starts equating the smell of marijuana to his reward, his toy. So then you would take the tennis ball with a baggie of marijuana and put it under a box or in a drawer. Bring the dog by the box or the drawer, and when he smells it and starts showing interest, we encourage an alert, like get it, just get it out of there. Now there's passive alert dogs and there are aggressive alert dogs. I've noticed over the past decade, most trainers are going toward passive alert dogs where the dog sits. Years ago, most of the dogs scratched or barked for an alert. So the dog comes across the box, he smells his tennis ball and he smells the marijuana. He starts alerting. As soon as he gives a little scratch or he sits, then we open the box to let him get his ball. That's how you train a dog. You can literally get a dog to alert on marijuana, the right dog. You can get a dog to alert on marijuana the first day of training. But that doesn't mean the dog's ready to go make a Fourth Amendment decision on the side of the highway. So it's important to understand also how a dog smells. And I'm not going to give you figures. A dog can smell 10 million times better than a human, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all know they can smell good. But what's more, to me, what always, I guess you would say, excited me or impassioned me was a dog's ability to separate odors. Now, I released a video titled Never Get Busted Traffic Stop about 12 years ago, and it blew the whistle on the drug dog's false alerting. And the way I explained how a dog smells and separates odors is, I call it the stew analogy. When you and I are cooking stew, we see corn, carrots, peas, and whatever else grandma put in it. But when we smell it, we smell one odor, stew. When you present that same pot of stew to a dog can't see really well. He sees shades of gray anyway, so he can't really see all of it. But instead, when he smells, instead of stew, he does, oh, corn, oh, peas, oh, potatoes, and whatever else grandma put in it. So a dog, you remember when I told you that we'll put a tennis ball and a bag of marijuana inside of a drawer for the dog to alert? Well, actually, once the dog alerts and we open the drawer and the dog gets his tennis ball, yes, the dog alerted to the odor of marijuana, but the dog also smelled the tennis ball and the handler's odor who hid the tennis ball and the marijuana, and the dog smelled a plastic baggie, what the marijuana was in. So, and then the dog got rewarded. So now you've actually, if you stop the training right there, now you have a dog who will alert on plastic baggies, tennis balls, and handler odor. We call that a trashy dog. And I'm telling you, most of the dogs out there are trashy because it takes training exercises every week to de-trash your dog or to make sure he stays clean and is only alerting on odors. How do you do that? It's a little deeper training, but I'll run you by it real fast. What we do is hide a tennis ball under one box. 20 feet over, we hide plastic baggies. 20 feet over, we hide plastic baggie with marijuana and the ball. We bring the dog to the plastic baggie box, and he's going to alert on it because he's been being paid for it, but we tell him no, and we don't pay him. Then we take him to the second box that has the, did I just say plastic baggies the first box? Okay, so then the second box that has the tennis balls underneath it, he's gonna alert on that. Remember, he wants his ball, and we're gonna tell him no. Then we're gonna take him to the third box, and he's gonna smell the tennis balls, the plastic baggies, and the marijuana. He's gonna alert, and then we pay the dog. Then the dog starts realizing, hey, I'm getting paid to smell marijuana only. Not marijuana and plastic bags, or not marijuana and tennis balls. We're almost finished with section 1, training a dog. I think it's important for you to also understand that dogs cannot smell through anything, but odors permeate out. So, you know, I would pull somebody over on Interstate 20, get the dog out, the dog crawl under the truck and alert on the gas tank. We'd take the gas tank to the mechanic working with us, lift it up, drop the gas tank. There'd be a PVC pipes packed with marijuana floating around in the gas tank. So people are like, how does a dog smell through the metal gas tank, through the gasoline, through the PVC pipe, and detect the marijuana? How's that happen? Like I said, dogs don't smell through anything, but odors permeate out of everything except lead. The way I understand it, lead is not porous, but everything else is. So what happened, the marijuana odor seeped out of the PVC pipe, seeped into the gasoline, seeped out of the metal tank, and developed a scent cone underneath the gas tank. In this scent cone, when the dog runs through, it goes, oh, PVC pipe, gas tank, gasoline, oh, but marijuana. And then he alerts. This is why masking odors, they don't work. You know, when the smugglers are getting the contraband across the border, they go at great lengths. A lot of them will, you know, spray hamburger mustard all over the package, wrap it in cellophane. Then they'll put grease over the top of that, wrap it in more cellophane. And then they may put Bounty fabric softeners or coffee and then rewrap it, thinking that that's going to stop a dog from detecting the odor of whatever drug they're smuggling. And it's not true, because the dog will just, oh, I smell coffee. Oh, I smell hamburger mustard. Oh, I smell plastic. Oh, I smell the marijuana. So masking odors don't work. They don't work. You know, when I gave a tip years ago how to smuggle marijuana safely, because back then and now I still feel like it's immoral to arrest anybody for a nonviolent drug crime. But damn, I lost my train of thought.
Masking odors don't work.
Yeah, masking odors don't work. And there was a point I was going to make.
You were talking about the video about how to safely smuggle. Does that get you back to the?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I explained that odors permeate. Let me write that safely. So if you can package the marijuana in something like plastic or some container and immediately leave, say let's just say a plastic coffee jug. If we put the marijuana in that plastic coffee jug and screw the top on, and we leave immediately to go deliver that marijuana, the chances are the odor hasn't had time to permeate out of that plastic coffee jug for a dog to be able to detect it. So that was a tip I gave. But if whatever you package the marijuana in sits long enough, the odor will permeate out. And the way I demonstrated this in the classes that I taught during classroom instruction time, I would get sardines and put inside in a Ziploc baggie, and I would pass it around to the class and have everybody smell it. And you couldn't smell the sardines through the plastic baggie. Well, after we broke for lunch and came back, the last hour of the class, I would pass that same plastic baggie around and everybody could smell the sardines. That's because the sardine odor permeated through the microscopic pores in the plastic bag. Under a microscope, plastic has pores. So almost everything is porous except lead. So I used to teach, you know, if you ever pull somebody over and they have a sealed lead box, there's probably something in it. So, what's that? Did somebody have a question? I thought I heard something.
No, it sounded like someone had an open mic with background music to me, or background noise. I just muted them, and if he does want to say something.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no worries. All right, so we talked about how dogs are trained. Now let's talk about why it doesn't work in terms of being reliable enough to intrude and insert somebody. Now that you know how dogs trained, we know there's two types of false alerts a dog can commit. If you think about it, I'll go ahead and tell you. One, a conscious false alert. That's where the handler makes his dog alert with a little click. I could actually get my dog to false alert without any clicks. I could get excited. Let me read. It's a conscious false alert where we make our dogs false alert on purpose, and then there's an unconscious false alert, and that's where there was a test done. I won't give you the numbers on it, but it was in California at a university, and the tester took a room that had never had any drugs in it and placed red X's in various locations. I think they took 50 drug dogs and said, okay, where the red X's are, we've hidden marijuana. But there weren't any drugs there. 90% of the dogs, something, I'd have to reread the test again, alerted on all those red X's. The handler believed there was drugs where the red X's were, and the handler would get excited. Oh, this is where it's at. This is where, not having to say a word, and the dog can feel that, which causes the dog to alert. So when a canine officer is called to the scene, hey, 307 Gladewater, bring your canine. The driver has a criminal history for smuggling, and his story is not matching with the passenger. And we've noticed heavy perfume smell in the car where it smells like they're masking something. Well, when the canine handler hears that, he's on his way with all this in his head, and there's a red X. That same red X, whether there's drugs or not, the dog's going to alert because the handler's excited and he thinks there's drugs in the car. So the dog recognizes these cues from the handler and the dog alerts, which is a false alert. The other reason why this training doesn't work is because of that scent discrimination I explained to you earlier. That can get so complicated to where you have to actually remember I told you got to teach your dog not to alert on plastic bags. You got to teach your dog not to alert on handler odor. You have to teach your dogs not to alert on tennis balls. Well, you also have to teach your dog not to alert on wooden boxes. You know the wood boxes? So it's never ending what you have to train your dog off of to be certain he's only going to give a positive alert to the odor of contraband. And in my opinion, I had a dog that was pure. But I've seen maybe 5 dogs in my life that were pure. Now, I could still get mine to false alert through clicks, but he would not alert on anything. You could hide plastic bags, you could hide tennis balls, you could hide food all day long, and he would not alert on any of those. He'd only alert on the odor of narcotics. But I trained with this dog 3 to 4 times a week. Back when I was a canine officer, police dogs were new. I was the first police officer that we know of in the United States that trained his own dog. At that time, like it is today, only kennels and certified trainers train dogs. Then they sold the dog to the police department. Then they put a handler with the dog. Then if the handler got fired, they would put the dog with another handler. Well, my dog went with me. I trained my own dog, and there weren't many drug dogs on the street in the US. I mean, I think there were probably maybe 20 in the whole state of Texas at that time, and now there's 20 in every city. They got dogs running everywhere, and they're improperly trained and they're unreliable.